3, 2, 1, and 0, and liftoff.
Hey everyone, it's Greg Lafferty, the Rocket Guy, and you're watching the Rocket Guy Real Estate Investment Network. Come check us out on therocketguy.com, where we talk about real estate investing, because that's just what we do. You know, we've talked about evictions and things like that over the last few episodes. So let's talk about tenants, just in general. You know, really, most investing models involve some tenants. They really do. Unless you're going to buy raw land and hold it for a long time and don't wish to get any cash flow, you're going to need some tenants. And, you know, usually when people find out what I do and they ask me what I do, there's always some story about a bad tenant. Well, my uncle's brother's cousin's sister's girlfriend, whatever it is, that didn't even sound right, once had a tenant that trashed their place. So I am never going to invest in real estate. And I'm like, why? Because somebody else that you barely even know had a hard time? I mean, I'm not so sure. I mean, you know, a lot of people break down on the interstate every day. Does that mean that you're not going to buy a car because someone you knew one time broke down on the interstate? I'm not sure about that. So we're not going to focus on just doing the easy things, because the easy things in life really don't give you a whole lot of return. So it's going to require a little bit of effort and a little bit of work. So, you know, let's talk a little bit about what makes a good tenant versus a bad tenant. And that's kind of a little bit of an oxymoron, kind of a weird term, because really, if they knew that if we knew that they were bad, we probably wouldn't rent to them. They wouldn't be a tenant, right? So, you know, at some point they're a prospect, and then when they sign a lease, they move in, they start paying money, then they're a tenant. Okay, it's in a former life, we used to say, you're not a customer until you pay money, and then you become a customer. Otherwise, you're just a prospect. And so, you know, what's funny about real estate is that it is a people business. I have a good friend of mine that she says, you know, she doesn't like to people. She uses it as a verb. But in real estate, you need to learn how to people. There's lenders, there's brokers, there's contractors, and there's tenants. Okay. Each one is unique. Each one's individual. You need to learn how to interface with people and deal with people. It is a people business. And one thing you can expect when dealing with people, about anything can happen. What you can expect is the unexpected, okay? Anything possibly can happen, because we are all individuals. We're all going through our individual timelines. We have our own families. We have our own finances. We have our own drama. Okay, if you're Guardians of the Galaxy's fan, we're all in these different timelines interfacing with each other, okay? That's what we're doing. And, you know, there's no secret formula to success, and there's no way to guarantee success when working with people, right? Because what could be a good fit for your property one day, right? Got a job, they've got a good steady income, good family, whatever the case may be. All of a sudden, boom, something happens, okay? The economy goes down, they lose their job, and boom, a good tenant went to be a bad tenant in a hurry, okay? And I say those all in quotes because really we're not talking about good people and bad people. We're just thinking about how we qualify them, or how we view them as a quality tenant. Okay, these could be really good people. They're just in bad circumstances. And that's just how it happens, right? There's no way to guarantee success. But, you know, we can, though, help minimize the risk, right? We don't have a crystal ball. We have no way to tell how a particular person is going to behave. You know, it's always been said, when you marry someone, you marry their family. Well, you know what? When you have a tenant, you bring their family, all their drama, everything, right? Because you become a partner with them in life. You really do. That's just how it is. Even in the commercial space, right? You become a partner with that business in their business life. The CFO and that business can make a bad business decision, take on too much debt, shutter the whole place, and boom, your space is vacant, okay? Because they had to file bankruptcy and close all their stores and do all that kind of stuff. Same thing in the residential world, right? You're becoming a partner. You didn't tell them what car to buy, right? You have no control over that. But you know what? They might have bought a car that had a bad alternator, bad set of tires, and before you know it, boom, right? They're looking at you going, I can't pay rent this month because I had to replace alternator. Well, whose fault is that? That's not my fault, okay? So So really, it's just you are a partner in their lives, right? You go through family deaths together. You go through weddings and divorces and everything else. All that drama and all that family life experience, you're a partner with them, and their experiences affect your management. It really does. You have to interface that and guide through that. So when we do this business in real estate investing, one thing that really, really helps is to establish personal minimums. I've mentioned to you before, I'm a pilot, and as a pilot, we establish our own personal safety minimums, right? How much fuel should I have on board in reserve so when I get to my destination, I might have some extra flexibility, right? What altitude do I want to fly at? What if the cloud layer comes down to a certain point, do I want to go to that airport or not? I always have these personal minimums. And the same applies for real estate investing and dealing with tenants, right? What about a credit score minimum? All my tenants, I want to have this amount of credit score, okay, or above. Above is better, right? Or how about income qualification? We talked about in the eviction cycles, it gives them a little bit of margin, a little bit of buffer in their budget if they have 3 times the rent in their take-home pay, maybe 4 times in their gross, but at least 3 times of their take-home pay they should have prior to the rent, right? So all those are minimums that we should have out there. What about the amount of deposit that we take? I never take below this much of a security deposit. So their move-in is first month's rent, security deposit, maybe last month's rent, pet deposit, whatever the case may be, right? Those are my minimums. Of course, sometimes there's laws that govern that. Okay, in North Carolina, we can't charge more than so much of a deposit based on their rent. And that's fine. You have to live within those boundaries. But these provide bumpers for us, okay, guardrails, so to speak, to kind of keep us out of the ditch. You ever been bowling and they put up the guardrails or the bumpers? Your ball just goes down the lane every time, doesn't ever go in the gutter, okay? And that's the point of this. These are bumpers, kind of guidelines to keep you from going out of the ditch, right? And really, when we look at a tenant, we run their credit check and we run their criminal background check. We do all those kind of things. We call their employer, verify their income. We look at their paperwork, make sure they are who they say they are, right? Verify ID and things like that, right? But really what we're looking at is we're looking in the rearview mirror, and this is what gets a little weird, okay? Because really, the past doesn't always drive future performance. So, we're never going to rent to a bad tenant, okay? They're going to meet our standards. They're going to meet our criteria based on their credit and job and all that kind of stuff. They're going to do that. But that is the past, right? Their credit score is really their past performance. Now, it is indicative of their responsibility and the amount of responsibility they take and the amount of importance they take on or apply to paying their bills and keeping up with their responsibilities. But we can't guarantee that they're going to have their job for the next 20 years, okay, or continue to make the same amount of money for the next 20 years. We can't guarantee that they're going to be healthy or that they're going to get sick or have a death in the family or something that's going to cause them to need to move and those kind of things. That's all future. All we're looking at in the record search is their past performance, right? I've joked before that when you pull up, especially on a criminal report, what you're doing is you're seeing 3 different types of people, right? There are good people, right? And then there are bad people that haven't been caught and bad people that have been caught. So really, when you're seeing a criminal record sheet, okay, all you're able to see is if they've been caught. You still don't know if they have that drive to make bad decisions, that drive to break the law and just haven't been caught, or really they have a drive to not break the law and respect the law. You really don't know the difference. You also don't know if 20 years ago when they broke this law, whatever the case may be, if they've reformed themselves and now they've made better decisions and now they're off on the good side. So there's a lot of that going on. Same thing on the credit score, right? All you can see is kind of past performance. So they've paid their bills. Fantastic. Were mom and dad like helping them with that money, okay, to help them pay their bills and to stay on track? Now they're living without mom and dad's money. So what's their future going to be like? Okay, or were they married to someone very financially responsible that was helping them pay their bills, and now they're divorced, they're on their own, they have no idea how to handle money? Okay, so we don't know that. Okay, it's just kind of a guidance, some kind of glimpse into their past, right? But I would suggest that you set up minimums And a lot of times those minimums are driven by either your target customer base or maybe the marketplace. Okay, if the supply and demand, right, there's we're really trying to get tenants in, and it's hard to find good tenants and all that kind of stuff. We might change some of the deposit requirements and other things like that to try to encourage in the marketplace to be more competitive versus our competition out there. Maybe if I'm going for lower income housing, you know what, they're probably not going to have an 800 credit score. Okay, it's just very, very rare in that socioeconomic arena, right? So it's going to be very tough for that. But if I have a high end rental, okay, that's a very expensive asset, then I'm going to raise up my credit score requirements and those kind of things to kind of control that. But what I will tell you is that usually when I mess up is when I've compromised on these requirements. Okay, that's when I screw up. And, you know, we're taught that compromise is a good thing in school, right? But usually that's only when negotiating or only when creating legislation. You know, they always talk about compromise. It's good to compromise. But compromise in this world, is in this arena, is like giving up what we need. Okay, and we're not really getting anything back. Okay, we are compromising our standards. And I would tell you, anytime you compromise your standards, you're going to mess up. So that's kind of the objective criteria, right? Credit scores, deposit amounts, all that. That's the math. That's the numbers. As a rocket scientist, I love the objective, okay? This is very objective data, okay? That's a little bit easier. So what about the subjective? Kind of that touchy-feely stuff. And this is where it gets a little harder, okay? I'm not really good on touchy-feely as much as I am the math, okay? I did study English and history and poems and all literature and all that kind of stuff, but really I was better at math and science. So what about the subjective? So let's think about a few things. So how do we relate as a partner with these people? Okay, when they come and they're looking at the units, how do we feel like we're going to be able to work together over the next couple of years? What's that feel like? Okay, did they show up on time? Big red flag. Okay, did they show up on time? I can tell you that if anybody sets an appointment with me at 9 a.m. on a Saturday and they show up, I am super impressed, because usually if they set an appointment before 9 a.m., I laugh, okay, and say, these people aren't coming. They are not coming. I'm going to go to that apartment. I'm going to wait. And by about 10 o'clock, I'm going to call them and go, where are you? And they're still sleepy-headed in the bed, okay? So, but if they show up on time Saturday morning for an appointment, wow, I'm super impressed. Right? Did they call you if something came up and had to reschedule in a timely manner? Right? Not like they had to be there at 5 o'clock and they called you at 5:10 and they're still an hour away. Okay? That doesn't really work. They are not respectful of your time. They're not respectful of the process. They're not treating this as an important part of the process. So did they show up on time? Do they respect things? Okay? In your process. Did they do what they said they were going to do? Regarding turning in the application, dropping off extra supplemental information, returning your phone calls, all those kind of things, right? Because later, if they have difficulty in the rent, they're going to say, hey, Greg, I'll catch you on Thursday. Okay, I'll bring you the rent on Thursday. Well, if they didn't do what they said they're going to do, take personal responsibility and make it important in the beginning of the process, well, certainly when they owe you money, they're not going to do it either. Okay, because in the beginning, they're excited and they need a place to live. So they're going to put their best foot forward. It's kind of like that first date, right? Comb your hair, get you all wear the best clothes and all that. By about a year in, they're like, you're throwing on your flip-flops and your tattered shorts going, hey, where are we going to eat? McDonald's, right? So it's the same way. It's the same way with tenants. So did they do what they said they're going to do? Okay, I'll drop off the application on Saturday by your office. You'll have it on Monday morning when you get there. Sure enough, if it's there Monday morning, I'm like, wow, they did what they said they were going to do. That is fantastic, right? What about their story? Okay, does their story match their background check? Do you feel like they're telling you the truth, or are they just kind of weaving a tale? Okay, because there will be a story. There will be one. So why are you looking to move? Well, what happened was it's all this, and it's just kind of, just weaving a tale. But if they say, look, my credit score's terrible. I had a car accident 3 years ago, and I have a lot of medical bills from that, and it's been hard to get a job ever since, but I finally gotten a job, and and all my bills are getting back on track. You pull their credit. Yes, sure enough, look at that. 3 years ago, all these medical bills started coming in, and they had a dip in their credit. Oh, it was terrible. But now look, they're current on all their current payments now. Fantastic, right? They've gotten themselves back on track. So does their background kind of match their story? Okay. You know, are they excited about the opportunity to rent from you, or are they too eager? Okay, I love excitement. Man, I love this property. What do we have to do to get in? Where can I fill out the application? How do I do that? What's your process? Kind of walk me through that. Or are they like, hey, it's Wednesday. I need to move in by Friday. Well, why? Well, I'm just so excited. I love it so much. I can't wait. That's too fast. I told you. The application, you turn it into me. It's going to take me a couple days to run your credit, your criminal, call your employer, those kind of things that I want to do. And so you're not going to be able to move in this weekend. I'm sorry. Well, I have to. Well, why? Well, because just I want to. No, what they're really not telling you is the sheriff's coming on Friday to lock them out of their house and evict them. So you have to, your red flags should start going up, right? Where they're way too eager. Okay, way too eager. Should be some excitement. Should be some energy, should be all about, hey, what do I have to do to kind of work through the process? But if they are pushing you out of your process and they're like, why do you have to do that? I don't see why you have to do that. I showed you my credit score. I'm like, no. No, this is my process. Okay, if you would like to take possession of one of my more valued assets and I'm going to loan it to you for a period of time and you're going to pay me rent, then we're going to walk through my process because I'm not going to compromise. Okay, so just be wary of the way too eager, right? Because they should be excited and they should treat it as a priority, but they should respect the process. If they're kind of lackadaisical about it and they're like, oh, I'll get you the application whenever I want, and they don't show up even then, all that kind of stuff. Well, they're not eager about it and they're not excited about it. And so they're just treating you like it's an also had, like, maybe I'll rent one day. Okay, so they should be eager, but make it a priority, but not too eager and drive you out of your process. So, we don't rent to bad tenants, right? We actually rent to good tenants. They kind of might go bad or not, right? We don't really even get a chance to truly grade them as a tenant until they are one, and that's a problem. Okay, and you know what? I have to confess, have I had bad experiences with tenants? That's probably a better way to put it, okay? Because really, overall, they're good people. They just have things happen to them, okay? And there are times they make bad decisions, but we don't really get to give them a grade until they're gone. Until you go into their house and you look and you see how well they took care of it, right? They went through the move-out process and all that kind of stuff, or did they just not show up one day and not tell you and take the keys and put paper towels in the toilet and flush it and let it flood the house and all those kind of things and destroy it and all that and just not even call you and you're wondering, are they going to pay rent? You go by there, they've moved. Okay. So it's hard to really grade them until they're gone. We don't have a crystal ball. But what I would tell you is you need to stick to your standards and stick to your processes to minimize your risk. Okay. Because there is risk. But you know what? Real estate is a higher return than a lot of other investments. But that means there's risk. And one way you minimize the risk is you be very selective about your tenants and you walk through your process. But while you do that, you want to treat everyone with respect, right? We want to live by the golden rule, right? Treat each other as you want to be treated. You will have to turn people down. You just will, right? You might have two applications and you have to tell one yes and one no. Right. But there's a way to do that and a way not to do it. Right. You can say, look, you just don't meet our criteria. Right. Easy. You just don't. Here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Good luck to you. Okay. No harm, no foul. Thank you for applying. Wish you all the luck in the world. And that's all good. Right. Treat everyone with respect. Okay. But be prepared for the unexpected because it will happen. And in all things, you can be respectful. Right. You don't have to scream and cuss and holler and all that kind of stuff. Just life will happen. And you have to work it out and deal with the tenants and communicate, right? And understand that this is just part of the process. So thanks for taking the time to join us today at The Rocket Guy. Come join us at therocketguy.com and check out the additional resources we have there to help you on your real estate investing journey. Please feel free to like and subscribe and leave some comments and ask questions and hit the thumbs up bell button and all those kind of things you need to do to help keep us up in your feed. And come join us next week. We're going to peel back some more topics on real estate investing. Take care and have a great day.